Today I figured was a good a time as any to actually dive into some vibe coding and figure this out. Bringing you along on the journey, and we're going to do this together. I've explored a bit with some vibe coding stuff. I've used platforms like Lovable and Figma Make. I've used Cursor, but I haven't done a like actual project, so I'm just kind of like tinkering around. So today we are going to dive in on a real project and go from there. So let's jump into Cursor. So here I am in Cursor, and I've read enough and I've watched enough videos that I know I want to open a project. I'm going to select my projects folder, and I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to name this just today's date, July 7th, 25th, 25. Open. All right. So you can see that over here in the top left corner, I am in that project. And this will be where kind of like my architecture lives. I have my chat over on the right. And if I toggle this panel open, I could see my terminal. So cd dot dot will actually take you out to one folder above whatever your folder in. So cd projects, but I think it's fine. Actually, we'll stay there. So I actually want to pull this in, npx create react app, my project. And actually, I realize I shouldn't have done the date yet. I could actually just do this. I'm sure there's some other loophole where I don't need to do this and all that, but now this is probably going to create a folder called that date inside of there. So we're going to have to move one and delete the other. All right. So that is up and running. We actually might have been fine. If I check my projects. Yeah, we're good. So based on this, npm start will start the development server. I can also click the README and see in the project directory, you can run npm start. I realized what it was. I'm still on projects. So if I do 072525, now I'm in that project. So now I can run npm start. All right. So my app is up and running. I want to mention Felix from Lovable created this document mastering lovable.app. And Felix does a really great job at breaking down phases and kind of giving best practices as to how to prompt better, and some examples of some prompts. So I actually took this and created a custom GPT and ran a prompt through ChatGPT and said, rewrite this prompt how Felix would. And this custom prompt has some instructions in here, some conversational starters, and I didn't enter any of this. I just used the create mode and chatted with it. I fed create mode all of this, and it kind of custom created that GPT that we're using. And so let's come back. So I fed a prompt with some information about what I was building and what I'm working on. And I just said, rewrite this prompt how Felix would. And so it did. So I actually want to take this, and I was using Figma Make originally, but I wanted to try this out in Cursor. So let's do that. Clear all chats. I'm going to paste this in here. I'm going to remove any reference of Figma Make or this prompt. We're designing a simple, elegant, easy to use dealer keypad experience. All right, that should be good. I'm going to run that, see what happens. Provided a clear. There's breaking down the plan, explaining some next steps. Looks great. Would you like to see a wireframe design of the component structure before I start coding, or should I proceed directly to implementation? User prefers the assistant go directly to implementation, skipping detailed planning, scaffolding. Would you like to add a placeholder image, or can you share the error message for further troubleshooting? All right. I had some issues with the background image, but we are open. Table is closed for play. some settings, options, open. All right, now we're moving on to the next screen, non-closed, no dealer. We had the closed state, now we're working on the next one. Non-closed, no dealer screen is now implemented. Open, there it is. No dealer assigned, min max, tap in settings. These don't work yet, which is fine. And we haven't gotten the tap in screen yet. But there's some like visual things, that bother me about this. But I mean, just the fact that we can get this up and running without having to write a single line of code is wild. We can eventually come back through here and update all of these styles using chat, or if we knew enough and could navigate through the app CSS file and all that, we could do that as well. So now I'd like to proceed to the next step. All right. We're working on implementing opening dealer assign screen, features for opening dealer assign, top banner, middle widget, bottom row, bottom button. Reuse top banner, add a hands per hour widget below the banner, add token celebrate buttons next to settings options, change the bottom button to open now. All right, it looks like that finished running, and I believe we should be able to tap in now. Next, I think we might need to rewire that to open on the previous page. Next, they'll implement the open dealer assigned, breakdown of the features for the open dealer assign, and it's implementing now. I'm just realizing that my initial prompt didn't include anything about any sort of libraries. I thought it was going to ask me, but I want to make sure that I'm using Tailwind CSS, ShadCN for component libraries, and Lucid icons. And it's important to include that at the beginning because it really sets your foundation for the entire project. We might create more issues doing something like that now, but we can give it a try. But before we do that, let's give this a test. Tap in, forgot. Next. Now that we're here, we should be able to open now. And there we go. Got some people in their seats, some empties and some on hold. Ideally, and if a table is just getting opened, these would all be an empty state, so we would need to follow up with a prompt to explain that. But this is a great start. So let's actually go back to cursor, and I'm actually going to say we should be using Tailwind, ShadCN, and Lucid icons. There might be some visual differences that show on the front end. See what they say. Install, setup, initialize, replace, use. Would you like me to start by installing, configuring these dependencies for you, or do you already have some of them set up? Install them. We're getting this npm install command to run with Tailwind, ShadCN, and Lucid. npx Tailwind, yep, this all makes sense. Generating, run it. Everything looks fine in my terminal so far. It looks like Tailwind's not being recognized even though it's installed. Try running a binary directly. If that fails, we may need to remove node modules and reinstall all dependencies. So I just said run the binary directly. We'll run that. Means Tailwind binary is not present. This can happen if the install was incomplete or corrupted. Remove no modules, reinstall. Would you like me to proceed? Yes. Getting some error. npx Tailwind, even after a clean install, it's still not available. Clear, proceed. Recommending a npm cache clean, reinstalling npm Tailwind. Hopefully this works. What is going on? Well, that took a turn. Ultimately, I wasn't able to get Tailwind to work with my app. It's a really humbling moment that just like goes to show there's so much to learn, but I decided to forget about Tailwind and move on with the next screens. And so that's what it is doing right now. So it looks like it's done. Closing soon. Dealer assigned. Let's reload this. Start. Open. Tap in. Next. Open now. Go to closing soon. Here's our closing soon now. Close. Perfect. Proceed. Next up, features for player options subpage. Right. Open. Next. Open now. Select a user. Select an option for that user. Perfect. All right. So that's kind of like the general set of screens that I had planned for this. Obviously, there's still so much more to do, but it's awesome just to be able to have a frame of reference and get some gut reaction and feelings from some stakeholders off of kind of this like user flow. I think next time I'll definitely set up in my initial prompt to use Tailwind, ShadCN, and Lucid Icons. And I won't have as many errors as I did later on. And hopefully this would look a little more polished. But this was fun. And thanks for watching. If you have any advice or questions on what you'd like to see next or how you'd like to see me move forward, let me know in the comments and see you next time.